Today's episode is going to be a very short, sweet, and potent episode all about how to price your offers, which I know is a really juicy topic and one you're going to want some like fast and quick ways to do that, especially if you're feeling insecure about your pricing right now. So here we're going to talk about what to think about before you price your next offer. You're going to get some real gold today and tangible. So grab a pen and paper while you're listening to this. I think that what we love so much about teaching pricing offers is that it's often surprises our clients when we work through it one-on-one with them, because it's just so much simpler than I think a lot of people make it. And it doesn't have to be so, it can be tangible. Like you can create a system. It doesn't have to be just a number you pull from the air. The industry standard has been sort of this conversation about charge what you're worth, what you feel like you want to charge. Well, when you're brand new or when you're insecure about your worth right now, or insecure about, just being new, that can be really hard to charge what you're worth, right? So like, what does that even mean?
Also, Marley, I'm like 100% priceless. So how does that work?
Exactly.
If I'm charging my worth?
Exactly. Like you're going to be broke because you're priceless. So let's go through a list of what to think about when you price your next offer. Becca, why don't you take us away? We've got 7 steps.
Woo, I'm excited about this. If you are a pen and paper kind of gal, get it out. This is literally how I walk my one-on-one clients through pricing their offers, if that's something that they are struggling with or are really insecure about. I'm going to tell you a quick story super fast. This was not planned. A year ago, a client started with me and she was charging like nothing for her services. And so we got into a conversation about it and I asked her like, what's going on? And she said, well, how could I possibly ask them for $500 when I couldn't even pay that? Like I could not pay that right now if someone asked me to. So your money story has a lot to do with the way that you price your own offers and what you feel like your offers are worth and you can accept from people. I just want that to be in the back of your mind when you're going through these steps, because it matters. It is a subconscious thought that is holding you back in a lot of situations. So let's get to this list of steps to walk yourself through to price your offers, reprice your offers, change your pricing, whatever it is. The first step is to literally pick a number that comes to mind if you had to price that right now. Like, I need an answer in 2 seconds. What price comes to mind? Gut instinct. Write it down. Like literally stop and write it down. The second step is, if you had to pick an hourly rate out of thin air, what would that rate be? Is it $50 an hour? Is it $150 an hour? Is it $1,500 an hour? Yeah, anyway, write down your hourly rate, like what you would feel comfortable accepting from somebody. Your third step is to decide or determine how much time you are spending inside this program with your clients. So an example for that is if you have, it's an 8-week program and you have 1 hour of calls each week. So that's 8 hours of calls. And let's say you chose $100 an hour as your hourly rate. Well, that would equal an $800 program, right? So just hold that thought, because your next step is to write down how much prep time is going into this. How much do you prep before the calls? How much time do you spend after the calls getting resources together for them, or answering additional questions, or something that they asked you reminded you that you needed to add another section into your program that you had completely forgotten? How much time is that taking? How much does client work take? Lesson planning, all the deliverables that you're giving them. How much does sending feedback, like how much time are you spending on all of these things? Uploading your recording, adding notes to client files. Like, let's just say, for the sake of this short episode, that is 30 minutes before the call and 30 minutes after. Well, now you've added an extra hour to your program per week. Now it's 16 hours for $800. How does that feel? Probably not good. It's funny that we kind of worked through the number 800 because my very first program was $800 and it was 8 weeks. I didn't tell you that.
I didn't know that.
So your next step number 5, is to decide how much support you are going to give your clients in between the calls. Do they get Voxer support? Do they have a Facebook group? How close do they get to you? Do they get to send you videos and you video them back? Is it just typed? Is it voice memos? Like, what support do they have from you in between those calls? And then I want you to spread that time over the week. Like, okay, so now we're at 16 hours, right? Plus feedback and support. We're probably closer to the 20 or 22 hour mark, right? If you price your offer at $800, you are leaving about $1,600 on the table if you just worked with $100 an hour. So the step number 6 is to value your offer at how much time you have added up between all of these steps times your hourly rate, and tell me if that feels good or not. If that does not feel good, then we need to go back to the drawing board. If it feels great, then even better. If it feels like it's not quite enough, that you think your people would pay $500 more, okay. What I also, and we are not going to cover that, cover this in this episode, but this could totally be another episode. I want you to make sure that you know how much of that is your profit. Because if you're getting $2,400 from someone, $1,600 from someone, and you're spending $600, $1,600, then you don't have any profit. So what was this all for? It certainly is not helping your family with whatever financial goals that you have set for them or for yourself. So before we get to the very last step, I want Marley to share an example of one of her clients. She walked one of her clients through this last year, and everything changed for her.
Oh, yeah. I remember it was her first bigger container. And so in a nutshell, she felt like $1,800 was sort of what I think probably what she had seen a lot of other people charging. And so that even felt really scary to her. And I said, well, let's break it down. So we went through this exercise, and basically, with the time she was putting in a full hour before and after each call, she was prepping a lot of resources for her clients before the call. Then she'd get on the call for an hour, and then she'd spend 30 minutes at least after every call kind of compiling what they had talked about, sending them resources that they needed to support them on what they had decided they would do in between the next calls, and all of that. So there was a solid hour on the call, a solid hour of support before and after, and then a solid hour in just voice messaging support between calls. Some clients took less, some clients took much more, but we decided that an hour felt, like a reasonable sort of middle ground of support. And
Right.
So if she had priced her program at $1,800 just based on her hourly rate at that, it was, 12 weeks at that rate per month, whatever it worked out to be $1,800. She was forgetting about that whole hour of support before and after the calls, which is another $1,800, and then a whole hour of support in between calls, which was another. And it came out that it was something like $5,400 or something that she could have if she wanted her hourly rate. And that really opened her eyes, number one, but also made her feel like now all of a sudden $1,800 feels very undervalued. And I think she still decided to sell it at that amount to start. But now she showed up, and when someone asked her, how much is your program, her energy around that $1,800 was it's only $1,800.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer versus like that whole, it's $1,800, but like totally justifying energy versus, hell yes, this is a steal energy, because now she believed that it was a steal, and she saw that tangibly. And she needed evidence and proof to break it down, to give her money mindset a full buy-in on the amount that she was charging. So it made it a no-brainer and totally changed her energy around how she pitched that price.
1,000%. I've seen it happen so many times, even just the last couple of years, which leads perfectly into the very last step, step number 7. Whatever number you decide on, if it makes you physically sick to your stomach and you cannot say it out loud, nobody's going to pay you that money. Nobody's going to be like, well, she can't say it out loud, but sure, here's $10,000. Nobody's going to pay you that. So you have to pick a number to start that you can say out loud with zero nonverbal cues to them that makes you want to throw up in your mouth. Like, you have to be very confident that, yes, just like Marley's client, yes, it's only $1,800. And imagine what you're going to get on the inside. Like, that energy is what sells. And so a good frame of reference for this is pick a number that you can say right now, even if you know it's too low currently. And every time you sell it, bump it up. $50, $100, $200, like bump it up incrementally, in very small increments, so that your brain can get used to walking you up to maybe a $5,400 sale. The other flip side of that is if it feels too low to you and you start to resent showing up for your clients because you don't feel like you're getting paid, that is a clear indication that you need to raise your prices. We do not use the phrase charge your worth around here because that is like the most arbitrary statement that I have ever heard. What does it mean? What is my worth? Is that a number I pick out of air? And also, this just came to my mind, pricing your offers like 555, 444, 1111. It's not gonna, that doesn't matter. My offers are not priced. My offers are even numbers because that's what my brain likes. And nobody has ever said anything to me that's not an angel number. I can't pay that. Like, those don't, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have the confidence and the knowledge that they would be crazy to not pay that and to not get inside your container. That's what matters. That's the energy we're going with. So if a number feels too high or too low and you don't have that energy, adjust it to start, incrementally raise your prices. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I talked about my client from last year and how her entire product suite was repriced. And even still, last week she messaged me and she said, I think my prices are too low again. And I was like, great. What are we going to do about it? And she said, well, I'm going to raise one of her offers like $500. And I was like, okay, what makes you want to do that? And she said, I haven't had anybody balk at that price that I've been charging. And I'm starting to feel like I'm spending way too much time in there and I'm not getting what I need or want for my family. And I was like, I support this decision then. Like, that's the energy we're coming with. We're not coming with, well, if they pay 5,000, they should want to pay me 10,000. This is not out of entitlement. This isn't out of, if you're not making 10K months, who are you? This is using the data that you have and the emotions that you are feeling when you show up for your clients to determine when it is time to adjust your pricing. I think that all of your pricing needs to be, I just want you to like keep this in the back of your mind when you're looking through your pricing. Is it based on the results that they get inside? Do you know the number of leads that you have? What is your confidence level? Not only of selling that, but showing up in that container. Those are two different things, right? Selling it is a different energy than showing up and delivering inside of that container. Are you feeling resentful? Are you feeling excited? And are you giving yourself permission to charge what you can now and build that up little by little as you need to? That has helped tons of women in the last several years just get comfortable with a price and permission to move it when they feel like it needs to be moved.
I think we could do a whole episode on how to decide if you should raise or even lower your prices, because that's a big conversation, I think, that we're going to have to add to our to-do list. But we want to hear from you. If this was helpful, on how you're going to navigate pricing your next offer, or if it's got you rethinking how you've priced some of your current offers. We'd love to hear that from you and what came up from you. What aha moments, gosh, I'm stumbling my words. What aha moments did this bring out in you? We'd love to hear those. Leave a review, shoot us a message on Instagram. We literally do this podcast because we want you to win. We want you to have tangibles to move forward from with. So when we hear those pieces of feedback from you, it literally makes our day. So please don't think that we're too busy to want to hear what you took from this episode. Please don't think that it's like too little or rinky dinky, even if it's just something small that shifted in you. We want to hear those things. It will literally make my day. And I know Becca feels the exact same way. So we want to see you win. We want to see you love your pricing and feel confident in your pricing of your offers so that you can make the kind of money that you want to make in your business.